Brigade welcome to Hurley Hill in your Rangers in Action demonstration. At this time, I would like to recognize the very special Rangers we have in the audience today. They are here to see their sons and grandsons graduate. Second, third generation Rangers carrying on that Ranger legacy. At this time, I ask all those Ranger qualified individuals who are in attendance today that have a son or a grandson graduating, please stand and be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. And last but not least, let's congratulate the graduates of Ranger Class 0615. Demonstration you'll see today showcases some of those techniques that we train Ranger students on here at the Airborne Ranger Training Brigade. I will now be followed by Staff Sergeant Grayson, the United States Army Rangers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Staff Sergeant Grayson, an instructor here at the Benny Fraser Ranger School. I've served in various light and airborne infantry units. Most recently, as a squad leader in the 2nd Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, based out of Fort Carson. I'm currently assigned to Bravo Company, 4th Ranger Training Battalion. The history of the American Ranger is a long and colorful one, with a proud heritage that dates back some 400 years. During the American colonial periods, Ranger tactics and techniques and methods of operation were inherent characteristics in our frontiersmen. As early as the 1700s, these frontiersmen, commonly referred to as Rangers, were patrolling our frontiers from the Carolinas to the New England in defense against the Indians. Probably the most famous and successful of these early units were Rogers Rangers, organized in 1756 by Major Robert Rogers. Presently, over 400 Ranger units have been formed by leaders such as Morgan, Merrill, Mosby, and Darby. Their gallantry and success in combat is legendary. In World War II, Rangers operated in the Mediterranean, in the Pacific, and they led the way onto the beaches of Normandy. During the Korean conflict, Ranger volunteers were trained here at Fort Benning, Georgia. They were formed into 18 airborne Ranger companies, 17 of which were airborne, 7 of which saw combat in the conflict, thus upholding the high range standard of courage and daring. Rangers also served in the Republic of Vietnam, from the Delta to the DMZ, providing long-range reconnaissance and surveillance as the engineers were commanded in the field. In 1983, the 1st and 2nd Ranger Battalions led the way by conducting an airborne assault into the island of Grenada during Operation Urgent Fury. During that same time period, with the activation of the Ranger Regiment, the establishment of light infantry divisions, and a renewed emphasis on mid to low intensity conflict increased the importance for Ranger training. The Army recognized the need for Ranger qualified officers and non-commissioned officers to provide leadership throughout the units in the Army. The success of this initiative was most evident in December of 1989, when the 1st and 2nd Ranger Battalions, along with elements of the Special Operations Forces, successfully accomplished their mission during Operation Just Cause. More recently, Ranger qualified officers and non-commissioned officers played a vital key to success in the accomplishment of the following missions: Operation Desert Storm, restore hope in Somalia, uphold democracy in Haiti, Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Ranger Force is 61 days in duration and is conducted in 3 separate phases. Each phase is conducted in a separate geographical location. Each location varies in terrain, from the steep mountains to the coastal swamps. The Benning phase, for 3 weeks in duration, is conducted here at Fort Benning, Georgia, by the 4th Ranger Training Battalion, followed by 3 weeks in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Romney, Georgia, conducted by the 5th Ranger Training Battalion. Then finally, 3 weeks in the Florida swamps at Eglin Air Force Base, conducted by the 6th Ranger Training Battalion. The purpose of the Ranger Course is to develop leadership capabilities, confidence, competence, and combat functional skills select officer and non-commissioned officer volunteers in Ranger tactics and techniques so that they, upon completion of the Ranger course, can return to their units with the capabilities to conduct Ranger-type training. This increases the standard of training in the United States Army and gives all infantry units the capabilities to conduct Ranger-type missions. Ranger school is realistic, rugged, to some degree hazardous. A Ranger student will be taxed both physically and mentally during his 9 weeks of training. However, some students are on the extended cycle program and have been recycling the many phase of Ranger school since the summer of 2005. In summary, we feel that the Ranger course is the highest state of combat preparedness training that exists in the United States Army today. Next, we will demonstrate some of the tactics and techniques that the Ranger students have learned. I will be followed by Staff Sergeant Kepler of the United States Army Ranger.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kepler, and I'm an instructor here at the Virginia Basic Ranger School. I have served in various airborne and light infantry units, most recently as a squad leader at the 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, Kansas. I'm currently assigned to Bravo Company, 4th Ranger Training Battalion. First technique that the Rangers are taught is demolitions. Extensive demolition training enables a Ranger to attack and destroy a wide variety of objectives. Although there are several types of explosives, Composition C4 is the one most commonly used. As you can see, it is a white plastic explosive that can be cut or molded into any shape. Due to the pliability of this explosive, it is used to create a wide variety of expedient charges. Charges such as the ribbon charge. The ribbon charge is used to cut a regular shape as well as flat steel targets. Next, the shape charge. The shape charge is used against hard surface objectives such as roads or vehicles. This charge can be readily improvised using any type of cone-shaped material. This one has been constructed using a number 10 can, and we've created the cone shape in the C4. Notice that this charge is dual prime to ensure positive detonation. And finally, we have the timber cutting charge. There are various methods to place this charge. You can do as we have, and you can place the charge on one side of the tree, and higher up on the opposite side of the tree, you can place a kicker charge. Or you can cut a section of the tree, place a C4 in that cut, and once again, higher up on the opposite side of the tree, place a kicker charge. This is to ensure direction of fall. Or finally, you can encircle the entire tree with detonating cord, something like a ribbon charge. All military demolitions are primed using modernized demolition initiators, or more commonly known as MDIs. MDIs consist of high-strength or low-strength blasting caps attached to various lengths of shock tube or time fuse. These blasting caps, along with fuse igniters and detonating cord, are used to create numerous firing systems. My assistant is going to hold up a training board with the different types of firing systems and explosives that the Ranger is trained to use. First, the M81 igniter, which is used to ignite time fuse or shock tube. Next, the M14 time fuse. M14 time fuse is approximately 7.5 feet in length with a burn time of approximately 5 minutes. And finally, the M21 and M23 firing systems. They have factory-attached M81 igniters with high-strength blasting caps and are used to detonate standard military explosives and additional lengths of shock tube. At the bottom, you have some of the explosives that the Rangers are trained to use. Composition C4, TNT, dynamite, and a flex linear charge, which is used to breach walls and blow doors open with. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will focus your attention to the far side of the pond, there you will see a connex where a flex linear charge will be used to blow the doors open. You will also witness the detonation of some of these other expedient charges. We have targets from previous demonstrations. First, the ribbon charge. Notice the smooth, clean cut effect. Next, the shape charge. Notice the large hole punch through the 1/4-inch steel plate. And finally, when properly in place, Composition C4 is capable of falling any size tree. you have seen some of the many uses and capabilities of Composition C4. A few of its characteristics are: it is virtually insensitive to shock or friction, and most likely will not detonate when struck by small arms fire or when handled roughly. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, as you have just seen, Composition C4 is absolutely insensitive to shock or friction and can be beaten around with no fear of detonation. The next technique that the Rangers are taught is military mountaineering. That will be followed by Staff Sergeant Gerber, a United States Army Ranger.
Hello everyone, my name is Staff Sergeant Gerber. I'm an instructor here at the Benning Phase of Ranger School. I've served in various light and airborne infantry units, most recently as a platoon sergeant in the 1st and 501st Airborne. I'm currently assigned to Alpha Company, 4th Ranger Training Battalion. Rappelling is an integral part of the mountaineering instruction taught here at the Ranger course, and is taught for several reasons. First, it helps the student overcome his inherent fear of heights. Secondly, it helps build confidence and teaches the Ranger another capability. He learns once again that there is virtually no impassable terrain given a well-trained, well-led force. In order to rappel, there are certain pieces of equipment you must become familiar with. The first is the curved mantle rope. The curved mantle rope is 11 millimeters in diameter, 150 feet in length, and has a tensile strength of 4,800 pounds. Another characteristic of this rope is its lack of elasticity, meaning that it only stretches 2% under working conditions. The Ranger is also trained in the use of the AMK, or Army Mountaineering Kit. The Figure 8 Descender, which acts as a friction braking device, and a locking snap link with a tensile strength of 2,000 pounds. He will also need his heavy leather work gloves to prevent his hands from burning. To rappel, the Ranger faces the climbing rope with his anchor point to his left, creating a bite in the rope. He then feeds this bite up through the large opening of the Figure 8 Descender and through the locking snap link, in which he then tightens. He then dons his heavy leather work gloves. To begin his descent, he faces the anchor point and begins walking backwards down the cliff. During his descent, if he wishes to brake, he simply tightens the grip of his right hand around the climbing rope. His right hand now supports his body weight and controls his rate of descent. His left hand merely acts as a balancing or stabilizing agent. When he wishes to continue his descent, he simply loosens the grip of his right hand and continues down to the base of the cliff. In many instances, it may be necessary to haul personnel or equipment up a vertical surface. For this purpose, the Ranger is taught the use of the vertical haul line. The vertical haul line consists of a large heavy A-frame lashed together at the top of the cliff, with enough rope to reach the bottom. The ends of the rope are fed through a pulley or snap link and are then tied together, creating what is known as an endless rope. The next type of rappel is the Australian rappel. The Australian rappel allows the Ranger to face the direction in which he is descending. His left hand acts as his brake hand, thus freeing up his right hand to fire his weapon system if he deems necessary. In the event there is a casualty and a litter is not available, the Ranger is taught a technique called the buddy rappel. The casualty secures himself to the Ranger by means of a nylon runner and snap link connected to the Ranger's own snap link. During his descent, if he must provide extra medical attention to his casualty, he will simply brake and do so. Once he is complete providing medical aid, he continues his descent down the base of the cliff. insertion that the Ranger is taught is the fast rope insertion extraction systems, commonly referred to as FRIES. The FRIE system consists of a 3-inch diameter hemp rope 100 feet in length and is attached to a modified H-frame on an aircraft. Today you'll observe a Lurch team fast roping from this aircraft. In a moment, you'll observe an aircraft approaching the demonstration area. The aircraft used today is a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter with an ACL, or allowable cargo load, of 13 combat-equipped Rangers. Today you'll observe a Lurch team fast roping from this aircraft. As you can see, in the demonstration area, there's enough room for the aircraft to land. And if this is a real-life scenario, it would do so. But for demonstration purposes today, you'll observe a Lurch team fast roping onto the far shore. The first action you will observe is the aircraft commander stabilizing his aircraft. Once the aircraft is stabilized, the rope is then deployed. Once the rope is deployed, the men will begin their descent. As you can see, this type of insertion allows the Lurch team to insert into a heavily vegetated or urban environment in a short period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the demonstration area on the far side of the wall. These units consist of 6 to 18 teams and are primarily composed of Ranger-qualified personnel. The primary mission for LURS is to identify enemy personnel and equipment on the battlefield and report these observations directly to their commanders, allowing their commander to dedicate his resources and defeat the enemy on the field of battle. Because it will be available for further operations. One of these methods of extraction involves a spies rig and a helicopter. The spies rig consists of a 2-in-1 type braided nylon rope 120 feet in length. Once again, the first action you will observe is the aircraft commander stabilizing his aircraft. Once the aircraft is stabilized, a bag will be thrown down to the team below. The spies rope is kept inside a bag to ensure that it does not become entangled underneath the aircraft. Every member of the LURS team will engage their nylon harness assembly with the spies rope and signal to the aircraft commander. The aircraft commander will then move straight up, avoiding all treetops and obstacles, and move out in his desired direction of flight. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the demonstration area on the far shore. sizes such as the M470 Zodiac approaching the short of your left front. This boat is capable of carrying 10 fully equipped Rangers. Ladies and gentlemen, this 9-man light infantry squad has been organized and equipped for combat patrol. The squad leader has the additional duty as a patrol leader and is equipped with the M4 carbine. The M4 carbine is a modified version of the M16 with a shorter barrel and an adjustable stock. The two team leaders, the Alpha and Bravo team leader, are both responsible for their respective teams. The Bravo team leader has the additional responsibility as the assistant to the patrol leader. Both are equipped with the M4 carbine. The automatic riflemen are equipped with the M249 Squad Automatic Weapon System, or SAW. The SAW is a belt or magazine-fed automatic rifle and primarily fires from a 200-round ammunition box, but can fire from a magazine in emergency situations. The Grenadiers are equipped with the M320 grenade launcher, which fires various types of 40mm ammunition, such as high explosive, illumination, CS, and buckshot. Finally, the two riflemen. Both riflemen are equipped with the M4 carbine. One rifleman has the additional duty as the radio telephone operator, or RTO. He is equipped with an ANPRC 119 SINGARS tactical FM radio, which is used for secure voice and data communication with HIRES. The other rifleman has the additional responsibility of carrying any necessary mountaineering equipment the squad may need. As you can see, distributed throughout the squad are items such as the ICOM radio, PVS-14, PAC-2, AT-4, Claymore, and hand grenade. The ICOM radio is used for internal communication between the squad leader and his team leaders and assists the squad leader in controlling his squad. The PVS-14 is a singular night vision goggle used for close-in, short-range viewing during the hours of limited visibility. The PAC-2 is a target designator capable of designating targets out to 400 meters and is used during the hours of limited visibility with the assistance of a night vision device. The M136 AT-4 is a shoulder-fired anti-armor weapon wrapped in an expendable fiberglass tube and is capable of penetrating up to 14 inches of armor. The M18 Claymore mine is an anti-personnel mine with a 1.5-pound block of C4 inside of it, and when detonated, projects up to 700 steel balls towards its target area. As you can see, every member of the squad is carrying 2 hand grenades. Additionally, all Rangers are certified and trained as a Ranger First Responder. The Ranger First Responder is equipped with the Ranger First Responder badge and is trained in advanced medical skills and capable of triaging, treating, and evacuating life-threatening injuries found on today's modern battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this 9-man light infantry squad is organized and equipped for a combat patrol. It is also a requirement here at Ranger School that all students complete certain competence tests. The first of these was the suspension and traverse that was demonstrated earlier. An additional requirement is that prior to the students completing these tests, they are demonstrated by a Ranger qualified instructor. Today, your demonstrator is Sergeant Smith, a United States Army Ranger instructor. So he will be demonstrating the log walk rope drop. First, he will climb the vertical ladder, walk across the horizontal log, negotiate the step obstacle, and once he gets to the far side, he's going to mount the rope and use a combination of the commando and monkey crawl and move out towards the Ranger tab. Once he gets to the Ranger tab, he's going to hang free and request permission to drop some 40 feet into the water. What do you think, Flash? Can you do a pull-up? casting is a means of inserting a ranger squad with the use of the helicopter. Today you will observe a 4-man ranger team being inserted with the use of this helicopter. The first action you observe is the aircraft flying 10 feet at 10 knots. Once over the target area, the first ranger team will drop their poncho raft into the water and then exit the aircraft from both sides. The second ranger team will repeat the same process. To construct a poncho raft, one standard issue poncho is placed on the ground. The ranger team places their rucksacks inside of it with any additional equipment. They also create one tether line on one side of that poncho raft. One ranger tows it with the tether line and the other ranger guides it from the rear. Ladies and gentlemen, please observe the demonstration area for the pond to your front. I will be followed by Staff Sergeant Shooker, a United States Army Ranger instructor.
Good morning. My name is Staff Sergeant Shooker. I'm an instructor here at the Benning Basic Ranger School. I've served in numerous airborne and light infantry units, most recently as reconnaissance team leader in the 25th Infantry Division. I'm currently assigned to Charlie Company. The average soldier is trained on the use of his basic weapon may become ineffective if you should break it or lose it. But with the knowledge in hand-to-hand combat and the confidence and the aggression to fight in hand-to-hand combat, the Ranger is able to attack and defeat his opponent. In combat, a Ranger is often faced with complex situations where the enemy is difficult to recognize. Imagine a team of Rangers conducting combat patrol in the mountains of Afghanistan or in the streets of Baghdad when they're encountered by a suspicious individual who appears unarmed but becomes hostile. Teach hand-to-hand combat for several reasons. First, it is an excellent physical conditioner and body toughness. Second, it creates aggressive spirit and instills the will to fight. Third, it instills confidence in the Ranger's abilities and that of his fellow Rangers. Fourth, it teaches the Ranger techniques in defending himself if unarmed and faced with an armed opponent. And lastly, it serves as the base for the Ranger so he knows how to properly set up hand-to-hand training once he returns to his unit. We stress several fundamentals during hand-to-hand combat. First, use your enemy's momentum to your advantage. Notice the demonstrator did not try to match his opponent's strength. He simply used his momentum to send him into motion. During hand-to-hand combat, it is inevitable that the fight will end up on the ground. To defeat this form of attack, all Rangers are taught in the grappling techniques of Jiu-Jitsu. Notice how the demonstrator is on top or the mounted position. From this position, he is able to attack his opponent with his fists and elbows, use numerous arm bars, and even chokes. For example, the cross-collar choke. Notice how the demonstrator is now on the bottom. Though on the bottom, he is still the dominant fighter. He uses his legs to create distance between himself and his opponent. Also from his position, he is still able to deliver strikes, chokes, and arm bars. Jiu-Jitsu originated in Japan over 3,000 years ago. It was brought to Brazil in the 1920s. Through the tireless efforts of the Gracie family of Rio de Janeiro, it has evolved one of the most efficient forms of unarmed combat. Using Jiu-Jitsu as a base, an integrated system of unarmed combat was developed using elements of judo, wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, along with marksmanship and contact weapons training. As a result, we now have a modern Army combative program. The first thing the Ranger is taught is a good, balanced position. Notice this is nothing more than a modified boxer's crouch with the weight evenly distributed over the feet and the fists held high to protect the face and to deliver sharp disabling blows. This is known as the Ranger's physical balance or the on-guard position. The next thing the Ranger is taught is the different ranges of hand-to-hand combat. First, projectile range. This is nothing more than the range an object can be shot or thrown at an opponent. Next is striking range. This is the range you're able to strike your opponent using a weapon, fist, or a kick. And lastly is grappling range. Grappling range is further broken down into post, frame, and hook ranges. This is the post range. Notice the demonstrator still maintains separation from his opponent to allow strikes to still be delivered. Next is the frame range. Notice the demonstrator has placed his forearm on his opponent's chest to close the distance. This allows strikes to still be delivered or the use of secondary weapons such as a knife. Notice the demonstrator has now closed the distance between himself and his opponent. This is the hook range. This allows for more decisive strikes. With the emphasis placed on these two fundamentals, speed and accuracy can only be achieved through practice. We also teach Ranger to use any means necessary to attack and defeat his opponent. This includes the element of surprise. We teach Ranger a series of throws, holds, and takedowns. We will now demonstrate a few that we teach. First, the right hip throw. Next, the cross hawk takedown. And the front leg takedown. As you can see, the street fight demonstrates a very effective position. In the event the Ranger finds himself facing an opponent who is armed with a knife and he himself is unarmed, we also teach knife disarming counters. You will notice the main objective is to gain possession of the knife. We teach Ranger a series of knife fighting techniques and vulnerable points, that is, where to strike your opponent with the knife. The counter to the upward stroke of the knife. Rifle is more than likely a weapon the Ranger will face on the battlefield. We also teach rifle disarming techniques. Give me 4 Rangers to get this trash out of my pit. Daniel, stand by, stand by, stand by. Since Ranger operations are conducted deep behind enemy lines, the Ranger may find it necessary to silence an armed sentry. Therefore, we teach special silent kill techniques. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll now direct your attention to Staff Sergeant Betcher, who will demonstrate the use of an actual garrote on this poor, unsuspecting watermelon. Now, Staff Sergeant Caldera will demonstrate the use of a garrote on Staff Sergeant March. Imagine the stealth and cunning it must take to sneak up on an armed sentry deep behind enemy lines and take them out without being detected.
Hey, son, Mark, if you can't handle it, don't come out here and burst yourself in front of the single chest. Graduating. You're right. The thing looks like professional back in Bronx. Now, the sick on deal.
aggressive, and confident in his ability to close in and regardless of the circumstances, destroy his enemy. With the knowledge and skills learned here at Ranger School, the end result is a soldier that is capable of being a leader and trainer of small units. He has mastered small unit operations, infiltration and exfiltration techniques, demolitions, hand-to-hand combat, survival, evasion, resistance, escape, low-altitude mountaineering, and small boat operations. He is the epitome of the infantryman, the finest soldier in the world, and from what you've seen in this demonstration today, a soldier that is capable of appearing at any place, at any time.